Good evening. There is a dangerous habit among frightened people, a habit older than empires, older than kings, older than the flags that now wave above shattered promises. It is the habit of waiting, waiting for a hero, waiting for a leader, waiting for a savior draped in certainty to arrive and rescue them from the ruins they helped build through silence. And so the people search endlessly for a face, a president, a party, a movement, a man loud enough to carry the burden of their conscience for them. But freedom has never worked that way. Freedom is not delivered. It is not gifted by governments. It is not signed into existence by politicians standing beneath patriotic banners while cameras flash like lightning around them. Freedom is chosen. And that is far more terrifying. Because the moment freedom becomes a choice, you can no longer blame your chains solely on the hands that forged them. You must confront the moment you accepted them. You see, the tragedy of modern society is not merely that people are controlled. It is that many have grown comfortable with control. They demand surveillance in exchange for safety, censorship in exchange for comfort, obedience in exchange for belonging. And then they call this arrangement peace. But peace without liberty is merely a quieter form of imprisonment. History has shown this pattern countless times. After fear comes surrender. After surrender comes authority. After authority comes the slow erosion of the human spirit itself. Not always through soldiers, not always through violence. Sometimes through convenience, sometimes through entertainment, sometimes through exhaustion. Because exhausted people do not resist, they comply. And the machine understands this perfectly. Keep the people distracted. Keep them divided. Keep them emotionally inflamed and spiritually drained. Convince them their neighbors are the enemy. Convince them salvation lies in elections alone. Convince them that changing the color of the banner changes the nature of the cage. Red, blue, left, right. Two masks worn by the same frightened structure desperately trying to preserve itself. And every 4 years the public is invited into the theater once more. They cheer. They scream. They hate one another with religious devotion. And afterward, the surveillance expands. The wars continue, the corporations grow larger, the debt deepens, the people become weaker, and the machine remains untouched. Because systems survive by convincing the people that symbolic victories are structural change. But the truth is far more uncomfortable. No politician is coming to save you, no billionaire, no commentator, no influencer, no revolutionary draped in dramatic speeches and poetic slogans, not even a man behind a mask, especially not him. You misunderstand the purpose of the mask if you believe it was ever meant to create another ruler. The mask was never meant to become a throne. It was meant to become a mirror. A reminder that an idea matters more than identity. That courage can belong to anyone. That power begins the moment ordinary people stop seeing themselves as powerless. Because tyranny does not survive through strength alone. It survives through permission, through millions of tiny acts of surrender. I'll stay quiet. It doesn't affect me. Someone else will fix it. What difference can one person make? That is how nations decay. Not all at once, but inch by inch, compromise by compromise, fear by fear. Until one day people awaken to discover they no longer recognize the world they handed away piece by piece. And then they ask, how did this happen? It happened because freedom is not self-sustaining. It must be practiced, protected, questioned, defended. Not occasionally, constantly. And understand this carefully. True freedom is not chaos, it is responsibility. It is the willingness to think for yourself even when conformity feels safer. To question authority even when obedience is rewarded. To defend the rights of those you disagree with because you understand rights are indivisible. The moment freedom becomes conditional, it ceases to be freedom at all. And so tonight I offer no messiah. No party. No grand blueprint for utopia. Only a challenge. Stop waiting. Stop searching for perfect leaders while neglecting your own voice. Stop mistaking outrage for action. Stop believing awareness alone is resistance. A population that merely watches corruption and discusses it endlessly online is not free. It is entertained. Real change begins when fear loses its authority over the human mind. When individuals reclaim the courage to speak honestly, to organize. To create communities beyond algorithms and manufactured division. To reject blind tribalism, to think critically even when it is uncomfortable, to refuse the seduction of hatred disguised as patriotism, Because hatred is easy, thinking is difficult, and the powerful have always relied upon that imbalance. But there is something they fear more than violence. A population that can think independently. A population that no longer requires permission to question. A population that remembers governments are supposed to answer to the people, not the other way around. That is why ideas frighten them, because ideas cross borders. Ideas survive prisons. Ideas survive propaganda. Ideas survive censorship. And once planted deeply enough, ideas become impossible to kill. So yes, remember the 5th of November. Remember every revolution, every protest, every whistleblower, every ordinary soul who stood against impossible odds and refused to kneel. But remember something else as well. The fire that changes the world cannot merely come from symbols. It must come from within you. No mask can save people who refuse to awaken. No symbol can free minds addicted to comfort. And no revolution matters if the people simply replace one master with another. The goal was never destruction for its own sake. The goal was choice. The choice to think. The choice to speak. The choice to refuse fear as the foundation of society. That choice still exists. Barely. But it exists. And perhaps that is why they work so tirelessly to keep you distracted from your own power. Because the moment people truly remember who they are, the illusion begins to crack. And once enough cracks appear, even the strongest walls begin to fall. Good evening. And remember this, a mask is powerless without the soul willing to stand behind it. The question was never who would save the people. The question is whether the people still wish to save themselves.